All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to this workshop on learning how to use not one, not two, but three Ellen White sites that our guest and host has helped prepare. And so we're grateful that you're here. We'll start with a word of prayer, and then I'll introduce our speaker briefly to you. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you so much that we have a message that you have given us to spread to this world, and that we can use things like websites and apps and other kinds of technology to spread that message in that world in our day-to-day, the last days on this earth. We're looking forward to your soon return. You've promised it. You've told us for a long time now, and we believe that we are on the cusp of that, and we are anxiously waiting for you to come back and to make everything right again. Thank you, Lord, that while we're still here, there is work for us to do to serve you in your kingdom. We pray that this lecture, this workshop can be of not only inspiration to us, but give us more tools and things to work with that can further the message. And so I pray that you bless our speaker and presenter, Darryl Thompson, and may we all have a ready mind and be able to learn and grow through this experience. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Friends, we have the opportunity and privilege of welcoming Darryl Thompson from the Ellen G. White Estate main office there at the GC headquarters, who has come to Andrews University to give a few presentations to us on how to fully use the Ellen G. White Estate websites. And there are sites in the plural. And so Darryl has a rich history himself. He can regale you with lots of fun information about the history of Adventism and technology and websites, because he has been one of the pioneers who has helped us get to where we are today. We have pioneered through the White Estate numerous different types of sites with powerful functionalities, and what you're going to see today is a product of decades, I think, in some sense, of work. And so I'm grateful that he can show us how to maximize the tools that are now before us with Ellen G. White's writings. And so I'm going to turn the time over to Darryl Thompson, one of the Associate Directors at the White Estate. Thank you so much,
Thank
Darryl.
you, Kevin. Well, welcome to everyone. Give you a personal welcome. I've been at the White Estate since 2002. But I've been in technology, well, I guess since 1980, when I remember we got a first PowerPC computer, and I absolutely love that old IBM. My first computer I ever bought was in 1990. It was an IBM DX33 CPU, some of you might remember, and in Australia it cost me $11,000. I just graduated from Avondale College, and it was my first year out teaching computer science, and I thought, I've got to get my own computer. And I did, and it was a lot of money. And I remember that Christmas coming to the Adventist Book Center, because I married an American from Tacoma Park, and I came over that Christmas after we graduated, and I went to the Adventist Book Center there in Tacoma Park, as it was then. Now it's moved out into Silver Spring. But it was in Tacoma Park, and I remember spending $500 on the first Ellen G. White CD-ROM. I don't know if anyone here remember that CD-ROM?
Yes.
But it wasn't just the $500 for the CD-ROM. You had to spend $1,000 on the SCSI special disc to be able to play that CD-ROM on. So it was like a $1,500 investment. But it was worth it. Because when I went back, I actually worked amongst the Aboriginals for the next 3 years on a mission, at a mission school. And that CD-ROM brought me great comfort and hope during the long Sabbath hours, because in the beginning, in the first year, my wife and I and young son were the only Adventists in that 1,000-member town. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. I didn't dream when I bought that CD-ROM that only 12 years later I would have the privilege of working and creating that CD-ROM. So in 2002, I joined the White Estate and started to look after the Ellen G. White Writings website. Now, some of you may remember Elder Fagel, Bill Fagel. He used to be the center director here, before Dr. Merlin Burt. And he, amongst some friends, started up the first, in 1995, Ellen White Writings database. Some of you may remember that. I remember using that back in Australia. The internet started, as we know, in 1995, as in the browser. And before that, we had the ArcNet. I remember at university using it. So I've loved the internet from its inception, or before the internet was around, and saw a lot of its potential. And when I come to the White Estate, they had the CD-ROM, of course, but it was still, $300 to buy. It was a lot of money. And I had a dream back then to make it freely available on the internet. Because back then we used to sell, the maximum we sold in a year was about 6,000 copies of that CD. Through its whole life of the CD-ROM, we sort of phased it out. The last one we produced was 2012. We sold 500,000 copies of that CD-ROM from the first iteration in 1990 through to when we did the last selling out to the ABCs about 2014. Okay, so 500,000 copies. Do you know that we get 500,000 visitors to EGW Writings in a single day now? I just looked up at the stats before I came here, and in the last 30 days we've had 7.18 million visitors to EGW Writings website worldwide in 138 languages. Isn't that amazing? So if you have an idea or something and you give your life to God, He can create magic, spiritual magic. Because when you have the Holy Spirit as your marketing manager, all things are possible. Enough of the sort of the intro. So in the beginning, I used to work on the CD-ROM and the websites, and that was my job. But I was one person. And in around 2002, I went to the Review and Herald, and I said, can you help me produce an app? Some of you might remember the original Windows CE devices or the Palm Pilot, some of you older people. Remember those days? And I developed with a friend, the first EGW Writings app. Back then we called it the Complete Published Writings of Ellen G. White for Palm or for Windows CE devices. That was in 2003. But let's fast forward. Everyone remembers these devices in their first iteration, probably, the iPhone. And that's what really popularized modern smartphone devices. And in 2008, I partnered with Pocket Bible. Has anyone used Pocket Bible? Okay. Partnered with them, and we released for the iPhone the web version to start with. But in 2009, we were the first app from the Seventh-day Adventist Church on the App Store. And that was EGW Writings version 1, and it's still available on the App Store today. In 2010, my favorite phone, the Android, sorry iPhone lovers, I love the Android device. I'm a disciple of Windows computers and Android devices, but that's okay. Apple's not too bad either, but I get a little strung up in their walled garden. But we developed in 2010 the first Android app, and that's still available on Google Play Store as well. And that app developed through to, in 2014, we started to work on EGW Writings 2, and in 2015, that's the app that we currently have now, but it's in version 7, because it's actually 8 years since that app was first released, the EGW Writings 2 for iOS and Android. You might think it's new, but it's 8 years old. Now, once that was finished, at the same time, many of you may use this website. And I'm not going to bring this one up and demonstrate it today, because we released that at the General Conference session there in 2015 in Texas. What was the place we went to? San Antonio, that's it. So San Antonio, we released this website. This website is still very popular. It was visited last month by 1.7 million people. This website. It's nice and fast, easy to use. But then, once that was released, I started to work on a new website, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit about tonight. And that was architecting the new EGW Writings website. Who has used, well, let me bring up this site, because I forgot to tell you this one. This website was groundbreaking back in 2010. It's a site that a team of 3 of my friends worked on. From 2005, we started to gather some of the other languages, and that's another long story, trying to get other languages. And we launched it in 4 languages in the beginning, in English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. And that was in 2010. Now, this site, at the time, it might look old, but it was revolutionary for its day. It did things that other Bible websites couldn't do. Okay? And it's been around. It's still up there in legacy because there are those that I've learned amongst Adventism that we're great at learning how to do something new, but don't you dare change it. It's like the laws of the Medes and Persians. Don't change my app. Don't bring out a new version. It's too hard to learn. And so when we've changed the apps over the years, we've left the old apps up there because some people are familiar with them. But hopefully tonight, once you've learned some of the new techniques that I show you and some of the things, you'll want to use our new apps. Now, I will tell you that we have started in December designing EGW Writings 3. Okay? Now, we are actually not going to call it EGW Writings 3. It's going to be replace the old original EGW Writings app on the iOS and Android App Store. And we are building a unified app so that the website and the apps and everything will work as one and not individually programmed like they are now. So you might know, who here uses our Mac OS app? Does anyone here use our Mac OS app? Okay, so we've got a few of us. Now that was released in 2016. Okay, so some of you might love that app and use it every day. Anyone here use the Windows app? We released that in 2013. This app here, maybe not. It was popular in the day when Windows apps came out, but it's sort of, it's faded out. We haven't touched this app since 2016. Okay, so that's the Windows. Then we have the Mac. As I said, we have the iOS and the Android and iPad. And then this new website that I'm going to be demonstrating to you tonight is, let me close the other one, is our new EGW Writings website. Now you have a computer in front of you there, I'm giving you a little bit of an overview of an introduction because this has been recorded and it might be interesting to those that are listening to it later. If you want to join in, please go to the website egwritings.org. And this website I started working on in 2017. There was 5 years of algorithms and back-end work done on the site and 2 years of front-end development. Okay, it was released as a beta in 2020.
Have you started your screen recording?
Yes, I did.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Yes, let's make sure it's up. I did start it. Hang on a second. They want me to check that it's running. Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, no, not at all. You were fine. It's good to check. Check up on me as much as you need to. Okay, we're back to this. So this website was released in beta form. Did anyone use the beta when it came out in 2020? Okay, I still have about 30,000 a month that are still using the beta version. It's still Zach back there. We've left it up there, beta.egwritings.org, but we switched over at the end of, the middle of 2021 to the end of 2020, we released a sort of this first version. It had a few bugs, but by the middle of 2021, we had them pretty much ironed out. And pretty much the development on this has stopped because we're now putting all our energies and efforts into the next version. And you might say, why are you developing all these versions? Well, let's think of this. With all our apps and everything all talking through a common API, that's why we have over 7 million users a month. At the height of the pandemic, we hit 10 million users. Now it has since September started to fall back as people have got out of lockdown and gone back, after the summer last year. Things have started to pick back up again. But by having multiple websites, different people like different things. We don't all drive the same brand of car. We don't always marry the same wife. And we don't buy the same clothes. That's humans. And if we create the one website, that mightn't fit that person's needs. So we have different sites to suit the different needs of different people, but they all talk back to the same database. And that's how we multiply, so many different users. But so we leave our old sites and things up to use. This is the new one. So let's get going. Let's look at a quick overview of what this does. So I want to see the raise of hands, those that actually have used egwritings.org, so I know who I'm talking to. Okay, so about a third of you have used egwritings.org. Now there's a lot of things under the hood that you may know or you may not know, but I'm going to try and run through this. If I'm going too fast, with my Australian accent, tell me to slow down, and I will then pull it back. So just raise your hand and go, hey, you're going too fast, slow down. But there's a lot to get through in a couple of hours. Let me show you one of the most important things. It's right in the top left-hand corner there, where it says EGW Writings. If you have clicked on something and you've gone into the menu, this is like your home button. Click on EGW Writings, it will always take you back to the home screen. So that's something that's useful that's there. You'll notice directly underneath links to our two other main websites. And I hope to the end of the program do a quick overview, because especially seminary students, the ellenwhite.org website has a ton of useful information. If you're familiar to Adventist Digital Library, ellenwhite.org has a lot of our archive resources on that site. And I hope to, in the end, get to it. But we're looking at egwritings.org right now. Now on the left-hand side there, when you click on the little icon on the very left that looks like a stack of books, this here opens up your menu. Now at the bottom, like there is the more, and you do have the settings for when you logged in. And we're going to log in that in a moment. But this goes through, you've got your collections. You've got your categories and titles. And we're going to go through those first things once I get through the top menu. And we're going to look at what they are and how they work. Then you've got over here a little icon just before the word search, and that is search templates. If you use the old Ellen G. White Writing CD-ROM, you would have been used to this type of search template. So if that is what you liked and know, we've repeated them here on this website so that you can use them. And that people do like to use those search templates, because what we've done is created, and it's one of the most confusing things on all our apps and websites, is we have one search bar that you can do multiple tasks all within the search bar. And I'll explain that next. Right at the end of the search bar is this question mark. If you're on the computer, click on it and open it up, because it's a very important thing. Just go to egwritings.org, and at the end you have the question mark. Why is it examples, that all the examples of different types of searches that you can do on this website, the search help syntax is listed right there. And I'm just going to quickly go through. If you want to see how they work, they're actually interactive and you can click on them. So if you want to go to a book and page in this book, let's say we want to go to the book Education, there's two ways of getting to the book Education, three ways. You can navigate it through the menus, or you can type ED, which is the book code for the book Education, ED, or if you don't know the book code and you're not familiar with the site, you can type out the full title, Education. If you're Desire of Ages, you could type Desire of Ages, and it would load up the book. But if you know the book code, you can type DA, which is Desire of Ages, and it will take you directly to it. So let's look at the example here. I can click on that there and see how when I click on it, it will load the book Education. If I want to go to Desire of Ages, I can type, like I said, Desire of Ages, and it will load the book Desire of Ages. I'll quickly switch back to Education so you can see that it actually does change. And I can type Desire of Ages. So I can do it either way. I can use the book code, or I can use the title. Now, at the end of every paragraph, you can say, well, Darryl, I don't know the book codes. That's not a problem, because you can see at the end of every paragraph this little symbol and this here, and it will tell you at the end of every paragraph what the book code is. So after you start using the site enough, you'll start to sort of learn some of the book codes. So if you want to jump to something quick, you can do that. But you say, maybe I want to go to a specific book and then page number. That's something that pastors in the sermons all the time are doing, correct? You know, they give you the reference. Well, you can look up the reference instantly in the apps and in the website the exactly same way that I'm showing you now. And in that question mark, if we come back and click on it there, you can see that you can type either the book title or the book code and the page, and even the dot and the paragraph number. So if I come in here and I want to go to Education, page 57, I type ED space 57, because that's how it's indexed. You can try that, and it will open up Education, page 57. Now, maybe I want to go to the paragraph that you all know. The greatest want is the want of man. So if I put in the paragraph number there, Education 57.3, you can see here the greatest want of the world is the want of man. And I'm going to run through my mouse and highlight it so that you see it there. And it pops up this little book, and we're going to look at what that does in just a second. All right, so that's pretty simple. Because a lot of people, I get a lot of emails coming in and they say, you know, the app's really great, but I find it really slow to navigate through the books because, you know, they're coming over to here, they're going to all collections, and they're opening up to English, and they're opening up to writings, and they're opening up to books, and then they're coming down. They may click along the little top of the filter there, and they click on the E, and then they get to education. When all they could have done is just typed ED, and it would have loaded the book, or the ED and the page number. So don't forget, that's one of the most common basic things that you can use in the app. Did everyone knew that already before you came here? All right, so not everyone did, so great. So remember that. That's probably one of the most useful things, is being able to type in either the book title or the book code. Now, there's another thing. Let's say that you want to look up all the books, and you've probably heard the word counsels. You know, there's counsels on diets and foods, and counsels for ministers, teachers, and counsels on health. But how many books on the counsels do you think Ellen White wrote? Well, it's pretty easy to look up. Because something we've done here is I can type counsels, all right? And when I type counsels and hit enter, it's going to, on the left-hand side there, see how it listed instantly? It passed over, it recognized that the word counsels is part of a book title. And so on the left-hand side of the tree there, it loaded for me. And it says in the little tiny blue up the top here, and you'll get to know this, see how it says a 15? That means there are 15 English books with the word counsels in the title. Okay? And you can scroll down here and you can go down and find the book that you want. And I was wanting to go to counsels, to parents, teachers, and students, since we're all here at Andrews University. It's a great book. Lots of great quotes in there. So, and then the book code is CT. But do you notice how I knew the title, but you may not have remembered, but you said, oh, it's got the word counsels in it. Well, that's a way, you know, you can quickly filter and find it. Because when you come over here, you know, you've got it searched for the word over here, but over here it did the title. And if you want to drop it down, notice that when I open it up, I can just expand that. See how I can expand and collapse? The very top of the tree, just see at the very top of the tree there? See how that I can just click on it and expands the book title and I can collapse it. Okay? So that's that there. So that's one way that you can navigate around very quickly and easy, is just type in the title. Okay. I'm not going to go through all the other things, but a lot of things in here, you can assume that when you type two words in search, like say I type faith and practice, I don't need to put in the word faith and practice. I can just go faith, practice, and it automatically assumes the and, so it joins the words. So if I come up here, I want to show you something. I'm going to misspell something. So say I misspelled faith. What we've added, see at the top there, see how I put in did you mean? This is one of the logarithms that we worked on. So if you don't know quite how to spell a word, it will look for the letters that you have and try to guess from the combinations of letters that you've entered the closest word match, and then gives you a suggestion. And then all you need to do is click on it, and then it will load up that new search. So we've added, you know, like a little spell check. You know, you have it on your cell phone. It's something you've probably got used to doing. Well, we've added that in the website, and that's where it is. So if you type the word, it will, you know, give you a suggestion. Now, I'm going to go back to the book education, and you'll notice, because some people get hung up here. So when I type in education, it instantly took me to the book education. But you say, Darryl, I wanted to search for the word education. I didn't want to go to the book title education. What do you do? How do you do that? It's very simple. Just click back in the drop-down box. See how it says there, search text education? You see up there in the drop-down under the did you mean, and then the translate from, the next line, search text education. If I click in there, it will then load all the search results for the book education. Very simple. Okay? So don't forget that. Now you say, why did you pre-index so it opens the book? Well, what we did is we put all the different types of search functions into one search block. So you can actually do all your searches and extended and advanced searches all from within the search. You don't have to use templates or filters. You can do it just by basically the command line. Okay? And that's how you do it. Now there's a few other things underneath. Let's quickly go through what they are. I'll go back and do my example of faith. So notice that when I click in the box, it automatically highlights and I can just start typing my next word. You don't really have to think, it just automatically highlighted it. But if you've got a sentence, you can double or triple click if you want to select everything. So we've got the word faith there. Now in the drop down, you'll say, what's this translate? Well, let's say, for example, I'm going to click on more here to expand, and I want to see what the word faith is in Espanol. All right, so let me come down to, where's my E's? There we are, ES. So I click there, and it's fe, something like that, if those of you that speak Spanish. Or maybe for your sake there, Evie, I'll click on PT, and it puts the accent above the fe. So, but you can do that in reverse, because you could type in fe, and then it will say translate from to, and I could come back and re-click on English and see how it will come back. So if you're in another language and you're not sure of the word, what we've done is built in the single words where you can type it and it will load up for you the ability to sort of do a simple translation right there on the fly. So if you speak Spanish and you're having struggling knowing what Ellen White might have written, it's not a dictionary definition it looks up, it actually knows the glossary of all Ellen White's words. So it's going to give you an Ellen White word in correspondence. Okay, so that's a little useful feature for those of you that are multilingual. Okay, now, what's the next thing down here? See how you've got here faithful, faithfully, faithfulness, faithless. What we've done is, once again, these are suggestions, because you've typed the word faith, but what it does is says, okay, these are the other common forms of the word, that faith, that Ellen White uses. Once again, it pulls them from the glossary of Ellen White's words. It doesn't pull it from the dictionary, it pulls it from the glossary. Okay, so it gives you suggestions of other words that she did use, other forms of the word. Then under here, it gives you synonyms, so, faith, stock, objective, impudence, belief. So other words that are similar that she uses. And then it gives you phrase suggestions, common ways that she uses that word in her writing, the most common forms, like faith and hope, faith in the word, faith of Jesus, faith that works. So it gives you those suggestions on the fly. And you can test it right there. You can put in your words in combinations. I'll give you 30 seconds to put in a combination. Just give it a test if you can do it, and then I'll run on. Give me a chance to have a mouthful of water. All right. Just give it a test. Now at the bottom there, see how I can open that up? I clicked on more. See what it pulls up? It pulls up all the other forms from the glossary. So it's useful. If you type a word and you're not sure what the word that Ellen White uses, see at the bottom I expanded it, and see the big list of all the words that it brings up? It's very useful and helpful. It's basically like an instant index. Okay. There is one other feature on this that I will show you, and that's right over here. And this here is the little tiny language translation. You can come in here and choose the language that you want as your default, what you're searching for, so you can change that. But right over to the right of that, there is the EN, and you can change the whole interface and everything by just coming over to that, and like I could click on German, and I'll click OK, and it will change my menus and things into the German words, or like the menus and everything, and it will change my search, my books, and my language to the default German. Now, we automatically sniff your language. If your computer is set to Korean, it will automatically load up in Korean. I think we're up to 30 languages in the menus. We are working slowly towards, because in this website there are over 2,700 words in the menu across all the things. That gives you some idea. That has to be translated. Michael here, is Michael here? Michael Zhang? Yes, there he is. So Michael Zhang was very kind of us here. He does help us out, and he translated and did all the Chinese menus. It took you, a couple of months to go through and test them all out, and so thank you to Michael for doing the Chinese ones for us and putting all the menus in. So that's it. Now, if you have your computer though set in German by default or Portuguese by default, and not to English, it will load the Portuguese books up by default, and it will load the Portuguese menus up for you. Okay? So just so if you ever see that and you want to change it, that's where you change it. So let me just come back and flip it back into English. Now, quickly on the other ones here, you can see a lot of you might say, oh, the white's rather glary. We do have different themes, so you can see how you can switch it into dark mode. I won't leave it on dark mode, but that's my favorite. You know, when I log in and everything, it remembers my dark mode. But you have dusk as well, and then you have dawn. And so that's sort of, in between. So you've got 4 different modes. If you have trouble seeing the screen, we do have accessibility day. See how it automatically enlarges everything? Okay, enlarges the fonts and makes everything blocky. And if you come into the book, you can see that it will load up the book in a very broad, heavy font. Okay, so that's how you do that. But I'll come back and flip it back to day. Now, you can change the text sizes and get into the menus and everything. You can actually come over here and put your mouse in this box, hold down the control on your keyboard, and see how you can zoom the sizes in and out. See that? I'm holding down the control key on my keyboard, and I can increase the size and decrease the size of my tree. I can do the same thing on the fly in the text reader. I can do the same in the search results. All right. Now, if you mess it all up, let me show you how you clear it all out very quickly. Click on the little padlock next to the URL. Click on cookies. Click remove. Click done. Hit refresh, and the website's back to its default. So if you mess things up, never fear. That's how you do it. Okay. So we've gone through the whole thing on the top. I've shown you that's the link to the old. You can also click on the share to share things out. And over here is the login button. I'm about to log in. So when you log in here, you can actually log in with your Apple ID. You can log in with your Google account, or you can log in with your EGW Cloud account. Now I'm going to say something here. If you're using the app, the Apple app, and you choose to log in with the Apple, make sure you allow sharing. And you say, why would I allow sharing? Oh, you don't want the wider state to get it? Well, I'll tell you, if you don't allow us to share your data goes nowhere. It doesn't get backed up, it doesn't go to the cloud, because it basically goes into etherware, because Apple's not sharing that data. Okay? Because in us, we have EGW Cloud. And you say, why do you have EGW Cloud? Why don't you use iCloud? Well, iCloud is about as reliable as an old Volkswagen, let's say.
Oh.
Sorry.
Wow.
But an old one, Because the thing is unless you're all on the same version of all your devices, it won't sync and talk to each other, So when we had iCloud and we had it on our app, people say, oh, it's not syncing, it's not working anymore. They had their iPad, but they had a different iOS version on their iPad than on their iPhone, and then it wouldn't sync and talk. Now, a lot of people have a Windows computer and an iPhone. How do you get iCloud to talk between the two there? Or maybe you have an Android and a Mac, which a lot of people have. How do you get that to talk? We had to create a system so no matter what you were on, it could talk and communicate. Now, a couple of years ago with the advanced blocking that they brought in, with the privacy laws, please allow it, otherwise it won't sync for you. You have to allow it to be able to talk, because we have to be able to back up where you've been and track. Do we share that stuff? No. It's your data. We don't use it, we don't share it. It sits and is locked, stored in the cloud. All right, enough on that. Just so you understand. If you see it come up and it says share your email address, please click yes if you're on an iOS device and you log in. Now, something you can do here, and I'll get to that in a minute, is the workspace. Has anyone used the workspace, let's say? Did anyone use Logos, the Logos app? Okay, you know how it has workspaces that you can save? You can do the same in this app as well. But we'll get to that shortly. I'm not going to click load. I'm just going to click stay and stay here. So I'm logged in. Now, the great beauty of being logged in, I'm going to go show you some settings. Over in the bottom left-hand corner, all the way down the bottom, see how you see the little, on the side there, you see all the little 3 dots? When you click on the 3 dots, you've got contact us or settings. Click on settings, and this is where you can set up all your defaults. You may not have known that, so that's why I'm showing it to you. Bring it up. In there, you can set your default for your library. Like you can have your primary language. You can actually add, if you speak Portuguese and Spanish and English, then you can add the others as secondary languages. But if you just load English, then in your menu in your tree, all you'll see are the English books. See, when I collapse the English, there's nothing else. But if I come in here and click on language, and I search for Spanish, okay, and I add the Spanish language, notice how it added it to the tree on the left, and now it will permanently stay there. So you can add that in the settings. You can also set up your reader defaults. You know how a second ago I told you about the different sizes? You can set up your own font, you can set up your own font size, and you can do that all in settings. Remember where it was. On the left-hand menu, if you're not sure, you can click on it and open it. You go down to More, and then click on Settings. And once you're logged in, you can change and it will store. Now in search, we're going to get into a little bit, this is the next thing, we're going to dig into search and spend probably about 15-20 minutes on search, because that's the major thing that people probably want to learn. In search, you can set up the parameters. I'm going to mention what they are and what they do, and then we're going to demonstrate it to you. You can make the default, which is your collections. When you search the default on the app, it only searches EGW writings. Now in the old CD-ROM, it did whatever collection you're on. In the app, for many years, it searched everything, but you might know recently that it shares the word EGW collections. It's only searching Ellen G. White's writings. It's not searching the Adventist Pioneer Library, the Bible, or the reference collections that we have. It's only searching Ellen White. And that's good, because if you do a search, there were people that used to be quoting stuff from the pioneers and thinking it was from Ellen White because it was EGW writings. So we set it by default that. But you can come in here if you like, because now that you're educated, and I've told you, you could set it to all collections and it will search the whole database if you wish. Or you could set it, this is something very useful, lifetime works. What is lifetime works? Anyone put their hand up that's got an idea what lifetime works might mean? Zach?
Works that she wrote during her life that were not, that don't include the compilations made after she died.
Very good. Okay, so you can see there the date, 1845, okay, to 1917. But you say, Darryl, she died in 1915. Why do you have 1917 there? Well, there was two books that were published after. The manuscripts were done. What were they? Anyone know? Starts with a P? No, it's P. P-K. Prophets and Kings and Life Sketches. Okay? Now, Life Sketches came out, it was in manuscript form. The 1915 version, it came out at the end of the year. Prophets and Kings, in its first edition, was released in 1916, and then the edition that we use now came out in 1917. So that's up there. All right, Acts of the Apostles actually, I think, is 1911, if I remember rightly. Okay, so that's the filters there. And some people will set that to lifetime works because then they eradicate instantly all the compilations. Because the compilations pull from her letters and manuscripts, which is about 50,000 pages of letters and manuscripts and diaries and periodicals and all the rest of that information. And it also then pulls from her written works. In her lifetime, anyone know how many books she published in her lifetime? Other than Kevin? 26. Okay, if you include 24, 26 if you include the Prophets and Kings and Patriarchs and Prophets, because they're in manuscript form. Okay, so that pulls from that. Now, you can also then just select the compilations, and I'll show you these filters, or Adventist Pioneer Library, or Bible. You know, you could make that the default search if you just want to look up things in the Bible, or dictionary. So that's where you can set your parameters. Now, sort results. What are these? Everyone in the old CD-ROM remembered that when you did a search, the first result always came back from which book? Acts of the Apostles. And it went what did it do? It went alphabetically through all the book titles, and that's the order in which all the results showed up, right? Alphabetically. How does Google do results that we've all come used to and got, you know, we use every day? It's relevancy, okay? Now, we do have this one here called relevancy, and you can do that, and you will get results from anywhere over the database. But then we made a new one up called weighted relevancy. And what this does, let me explain how it works. Weighted relevancy is a special logarithm. It looks first and it weights her lifetime works first and foremost. So it weights that. It also weights Ellen White stuff. So you won't see the other things. Now you might see Bible showing up, but it will only be the EGW comments in the SDA Bible commentary that show up. And there's a couple of books in the reference section that will show up because they were written by her and they're in our reference library. She is the author. It automatically filters out EGW as the author because we know all the authors here, and it filters it out into that. Now the next thing it does is a lot of people in the app say, when I do a search, Darryl, I hate it. I have to scroll through and there's duplicates and duplicates and duplicates and duplicates of the results. Well, in weighted relevancy, we take the top 200 results instantly on the fly, and we sort all the duplicates and throw them in the bottom 200 and all the unique in the top 100. Is that useful? Very useful. Okay? And we try to get the most relevant match in the first 10 results. And you can set that what you want. You know, we have a default weighted relevancy, but you can change it here. And then we've got a new unique feature that we added May last year. And that's here, exact match and root words. A lot of people don't know the different forms of the words that Ellen White used in the 19th century English. Okay? So what we do, if you type a word, it will look for other different forms of the word and put them after those results. Or if there was no match, it will then bring up the closest match and put it up there so you get some results. That's useful. If you don't like it, you can then click on exact word match, and what you type is what you get. But it automatically searches and puts the exact matches first, and then it will give you the alternate forms of the word second. Let's have a look at that. Give me a word. Did I do it? Leave it here? I need to take it back to EGW collections and weighted and that one. Okay, good. All right, anyone got a word for me you want me to search? Adornment. Okay, oops, I forgot the N if I can see. There we go, adornment. All right, so we've done up and we've searched for adornment. And I'm going to go through and you go, wow, that's a confusing screen. And yes, it is when you look at it the first time, but I'm going to unpack it. And once I unpack it, you're going to find it extremely useful. But over here are your search results. Okay, so what it did, you can notice that you can see, and let me unpack what the different parts of it are. I'll do this one so you can see. This is your search result number. This is the author. This is the book code. This is the date. This is the year. Okay, so you can see here what it's doing, and that's what it is. So you've got here your reference. If it's a periodical or a letter and manuscript, it will show it up here. Now you can say, what's this 12 LTMS? What we did is we put all the 9,000... No, come in. We put all the 9,443 letters and manuscripts into 25 volumes. Because what we used to have happen on the apps, when a person would download all the books to their device, you know when you're pulling from a server 9,000 reports, it would hog our server time and CPU time like crazy by compressing into 25. And it used to take people sometimes hours to download. Now it's in 25 books. It literally comes down in seconds. Okay? So we compress them all into 25 volumes by year. So, we tried to approximate around the 2,000 page per volume. And so you will see that, like, if I go there, a whole collection. And when it gets up to the upper years, like in the late 80s, it starts to be one volume, 1 year. And then as it gets through to about 1909, then it goes back, I think, to the last volume in those collections of years. So that's what this is in the letters and manuscripts. So as we go down in the results here, you can see, if I come here and let's look at quickly what these filters and things are. Because you can go into the settings and set your defaults, but you can come and change them on the fly. So this is important that you look this. It's very useful. This is the sort results filter. Remember I showed you that a second ago? In which you can choose for this search and it will just do it for that search. Now I'm going to look here. So there are 5,000. I'm in result 5 of 1,477 results. That's what this number here is right there. So that's number 5. I was on result 5 of 1,000 total, 477. Now if I come here and I click on exact match, that number will drop to what? 246. Why the difference? because it automatically included in there all the different forms of the word. Let's look what they are, and I can show them to you by just going down and clicking the root of the words and see how an adorning, then you got lots of adorning, and you'll have adornment and adorn, and the other forms, when I scroll down that list, will all be listed there in the other results. And you can exclude them by that way quickly sorting it on the fly. All right, what's the next one? The next one is a quick, great filter. You can switch from EGW collections to all collections on the fly. That's useful. The next thing is here, you can click down and you can just go to the Adventist Pioneer Library and see how all the results come from the APL. You can go down to just the lifetime books. I mean, my vice director, Tim, he sets his default to just be the lifetime works because that's what he wants to see in the results all the time, an exact match. Because, he's an archivist, and archivists like original and accurate. Okay, so, he sets that to be the default. But maybe you can see, is adornment used in Scripture? Now, I've set my default Bible to the NKJV, and you might see that if you go to the NKJV, you need to be logged in to actually read it. You don't have to pay for it. We actually pay the license fee on that. So you'll notice that some of the modern translations that we've added, and you say, why don't we have more? I think I was explaining it to you guys last night. Why don't we have more? Well, the publishing houses out there don't take too kindly to Ellen White in the Bible publishing houses, and they didn't want to give it to us to put it on our website. They wouldn't give us the copyrights. I got denial letters, and the reason was why, and some of them weren't very nice. And other ones that did, HarperCollins, bless their souls, owned by, Rupert Murdoch, he was very open to allowing us to put the Bibles that he had under his collection on our website, but we have to pay the royalties to do that. That's HarperCollins Publishing. Okay, so I've set the default to be NKJV, but you might like the KJV, or you might like the ISV, or some of the other ones. We have 16 Bible versions that you can choose from. And you say, how do I know that? Well, I can click on the Bible filter, and I can instantly filter to that. And I'm going to show you a couple of unique, wonderful Bibles that as seminary students you will find extremely useful. All right, so you can quickly filter, as I said, to the Bible, or you can come down here and click to the dictionary. If it's there, because it's not in the root of the word, I would probably have to come and put adorn, and then I will get, when I click on dictionary, it should then give me a definition. Yes, because it has the root form of the word. All right. Am I going too fast? Or is people learning things? Am I going too fast? Is it okay? All right. I tend to sometimes talk fast, but there's a lot to get through. Let's go back to, I talked about the search, we've gone through the filters, and there's a lot more that you can actually filter out over here. Let me just come back. There is in the history, see how, if I, my history there, when I clicked again, see how it's showing what I've searched for recently. So my history is right there in the drop list, so I can click. And if I click back in here, I can click more and see how it lists a lot of my history right there. So I can go back and quickly, in one click, come back and click what I was searching for before, and it instantly updates. So just so did you see how I did that? Pulling up my history. But I have to be logged in because it's loading up to the server as you do it, so it's tracking it for you. If you're not logged in, that won't be there. Notice how it wasn't there earlier? Now that I'm logged in, the history is there. Okay. And you've also got your history over here on the side. See in there, when I hover over it, I can click on the history there. I've already donated a lot of money to EGW Writing, so I'll just click on that. All right, so it tracks my history per language. I can click on here, and you can see all my history, what I've been going through. And I pulled that up by, on the left-hand menu, once I was logged in, on history there. It looks like a little icon like the time clock. See that? And once I'm logged in, it will track. Now, this is very useful because you can track all the different things that you've been doing and instantly come back and go to the exact page of where you left off. So like if I'm in the sanctuary, I can click here. Notice it loads up and exactly where I left off. I can click here. I can go back into Mind, Character, Personality, which I'm reading last night. And by the way, I love Mind, Character, Personality. It's a brilliant 2-volume set. And it will take me back. And you can read, Zach, see what I was actually doing a little reading when I went home after you went last night. And I wanted to bring that up if you were here. You might want to go to this chapter in Mind, Character, Personality, where it puts all the collections of all the different statements on God is love in there. Okay? Got a few other things in that. My brain didn't shut down till very late last night thinking about things. Don't be a designer and architect, because your brain, Kevin, remember you couldn't sleep last night because you were dreaming? I had a similar problem. Anyway. And when I get tired, I go to my app and I'll lose hours in it, just reading and studying and learning about the writings of Ellen White. It's fantastic. All right. We've described the top. You can come in the little 3 dots at the end here, and there are other tools. You can jump to a particular search result, like you can filter to it in there. So if I type, let's say I type GC, all right, notice in my search results instantly it's sorted to GC. Some of you may find that useful because it means you can jump around to different filters straight away. But there are 2 different ways you can do this, and I'm going to show you the other way. So you can either type GC and message, like I did before. So if I wanted to filter, or I can come in there and type GC. So I could have done that. Let me type another different book up in here. If you click in there, it will automatically highlight. Just use your cursor arrow to go back so it doesn't delete, and then just hit enter. So see how I type DA message, and it instantly brought up the results from Desire of Ages. But I'm going to go back in my history, and I'm just going to go and put a message and bring up here. And I want to show you this. You say, what's the use of the tree? Because we're talking about search results. It's really useful, this, because what I can do is I can just click over the little checkbox. Can you all see that little checkbox that I'm on, hovering, and I've highlighted here between the 2 MCP? If I click that, what did it do to my search results? It's instantly sorted my search results to volume 2 of mind, character, and personality. Now maybe I want to put in here, help in daily living, and I can put a check mark in there, and it instantly, if there's any results, will add it. I'll click on, there wasn't any, healthful living, there we go. So see how I can go along, and I can click in the Great Controversy, and it's now giving me results from 3 different books. So I can use the tree to instantly sort by collection. That's very useful if you want to be doing, sorting within the books and seeing how many results that these 3 books have that word in it. You'll get an instant result by just using the tree. Okay? Now you say, well, how do I delete that? Well, at the top it's very easy. See these little half colored in boxes? That means there's some selection in the child's underneath. If you want to clear them all, just click in the top box and it empties out. It clears them. Okay? Now if you want to sort just in books, it's very useful. Once again, I just click in books. It'll instantly give me results from just the books collection. But maybe I want to come down and I want to look in periodicals. It will instantly, when I click in there, update my search results to periodicals. You get the story. You can use the tree and the little checkboxes to help you sort and filter your searches. Is that useful? I find it very useful. That's the idea of the tree. But if you don't want the tree, very simple. Just above the EGW, you just click on that, and what does it do? It closes it, collapses it. If I want to get back to it again, to get the space, I can open it up, and there it is. Now when I open up and I click on a result here, notice how it instantly on the left-hand side, it's like a chapter navigation. It instantly tells you where you are in the book. So if I come up here and I'm in, I'll just put in here, just so you see, into a normal regular book, Desire of Ages, and I click in a result. Oh, hang on. There we go. Come on, load up, click back to results. We're not doing that tab yet. Get on here. Oh, I've got to uncheck got to uncheck the boxes because it's going to override. Now I can go back and I can click results, and here we are. We're in Desire of Ages. So I clicked off the setting. All right, so here we go. Once I'm in here, see how it gives me my table of contents down the left-hand side there? So I can jump to any chapter, and you say, well, I can't read it. It's too small. No problem. See how I can put my mouse there and I can pick up and I can increase the width. So if you're on a nice 5K screen or something at home, I have one of those ultra-wide screens. I have mine and it will remember your settings. So you can put your mouse on the little wireframe there, and when you see that, you can pick it up and resize the window. Is that useful? Okay. You can also do the same in the search results, in the search window. You can pick that up and increase the search results with that as well. Now sometimes you might say, well, Darryl, I wouldn't want to see the whole context. You can come over here. See this little one here that says results length? You can click on that and you can go to paragraph, and now it will give you the full paragraph. Is that useful? I know, I find it extremely, extremely useful. Okay, so now you can get the full context of it. And you can click down in the result, and one after the other, get the results, loading away. And you can see before you go there, the result, and that's the long. And that's found in the 3 dots, and that is in result length. And I'll just come down to the default. I've got it set at long. All right. Now in the beginning, I was showing you something. Your heads are probably starting to explode, I know, and I'm sorry. Should we take a break for 1 second? Get up, stand up, everyone. Let's take a break for 1 second and breathe it, because I tell you what, my head is, there's so much going through, so much information. I'll give you a 30-second break. Okay, so we've gone through some of the little tools there in the search. I want to explain here what we call related and then featured results. This is here. And you may say, why would you mess up the results here with all this screen of information? Has anyone here used that, the related information screen? Anyone? No one? Okay. Let me explain it to you. And after tonight, I hope you all use it, because it's very, very useful. Let's go through. First of all is search. Now, you say search message. Well, that's the word that I was searching for. It instantly tells me that I had 23,818 results for the word message in EGW books. There are 17 book titles with the word message in it. There are 4 audiobook titles with message in it. See, these numbers here are giving me exact results. We have 96 synonyms, no antonyms, 100 suggestions, because we don't go past 100 suggestions, in which there's alternate forms of the word message that Ellen White used. So if you're not sure of this, I can come along here and I can click on suggestions, and it will give me the list of all 100 when it loads. See, message of the third, message to the world, message. See how it's giving me phrases and how she's using it there? Okay. So let me just come back and click on message again. And the next one is the topical index. Now you all know the EGW topical index, that where it puts it all in topics. See, if you click in here, there are 2,549 places in the index where the word message is used. And the next one I'm going to put down here. So I'm going to put message and angels. Okay, so I'll put message and angels here, and we're going to look at phrase match. Now every day, this is a good point, I want to show you something, a little plug for our social media. Every day I post to social media. Okay, this is our EGW Writings Instagram channel. We have the L&G White Estate Instagram channel, and then we have the EGW Writings Instagram channel. On this here, we post nice little videos every day. Okay, so we post that. We also post, and let me change the speaker output so you can hear it. It has nice little videos and things you can watch, and it has also, then we have quotes. So that's our EGW Instagram. And I'd say, why am I mentioning this? We also have an Ellen White Twitter and an EGW Writings Twitter account. And we also have an L&G White Estate and an EGW Writings Facebook account. So there are 3 major ones if you want to have a look at those. Now you say, why did you show us that? Well, this is what I often use. When I put the word up there, messages and angels, in the result, you may get in the first result where it has angels, messages and that, and I can put quote marks around it. I can put double quotes around it so it puts it into a phrase. Okay. And that's, it has, no results there, of course. And so what's the use of that? Well, let me see how this is useful, the phrase search. Let me explain it to you. So see down here, a 3-word match and a 4-word match. That means it will put those 2 words in a natural language processed phrase. If you're looking for a particular quote of Ellen White and all you can remember is a couple of words, when you use the phrase match, it will probably find it for you. So if I come down here and I click on a 6-word phrase match, that means there's going to be 6 words in my phrase, and it's going to put those 2 words in the order for you to find them. It's a very useful feature that I use nearly every day. Because if you want to look for a word or a phrase or something, use the phrase search. You will find it. because it actually is something that took about a year for an algorithm programmer for us to get to work. Because what we had to, I won't go into the long process of how it happened, but it's very helpful. It's a great, useful tool. And that's the phrase search. Let me look at the other. The next one here is by collections. So you can use the tree on the left, but why? You notice every time I do here, it's one click. And you click one click and you get a different set of results. It's like search filters. So if I want to look in books and just search, know how I clicked on the books collection in the tree before, and then I had to go and uncheck and everything, I can just come here, I can click in books, and it tells me there are 1,430 results in books. Maybe it's modern English I want to read, or maybe it's in the letters and manuscripts. One click, and I get the results. So I'll go down to modern English here. I click on it, and there's my results with one click. Okay? I can click on the little R there, and it will return me back to my last one. See the little R? It will go back to the R's for related. And you can go down and you can see the numbers there. They're all, and you can say, how can that happen so fast? Because all these, I did a search and instantly I got all these results. If you do it on most other websites, it comes back and tickles through. What we've done is we have a 20 gigabyte index on our servers that are scattered all over the world. So every combination of words and things that could ever be searched for are already indexed. So when you do a search, you don't have to wait for the result. The result is already calculated, it just instantly returns it to you. And you might think, okay, I expect that. Well, as I said, we worked on this website for 5 years on the back end creating all those indexes so that you could have instant high performance. Our server returns the results in 10, on the average single word, 10 milliseconds, in a phrase, 50 milliseconds. It will return the result back. Now your connection to the internet might be a little bit slower, but most of the results you'll notice will come back in a second. Okay? That's all done by pre-indexing. Years and years of people going through and doing all the different indexes so that when you use it, it just works. You get to expect it, but in this day and age, believe me, a lot of people, if they have to wait several seconds for a result, they just go on. We live in an instant society, and if you don't deliver, they move on. So that's this. Now, you can do it by category, and I mentioned in the beginning, remember I said we have 3 types of search. You have the all collections, which is general, and then we have content, collections, and then we have title. I'm going to show you in this here very quickly. So we talked about the word education earlier. So there are multiple books that talk about education, and if you want to look up like Angel's Messages in education, I just need to click on here on education, there are 27 results, and instantly it just filters out all the other books and just deals with education. And instantly I get a sort of results. I didn't have to go down the tree, find all the books that deal with education. You might know all the books that deal with education. But here we are at Andrews University. You want to filter it, one click, it's there. Loads instantly. Okay, go back to the results. Is that useful? Are people understanding what some of these, these little things here in the front are now for? Okay, and see, let me tell you a quick story. Our friend here was in Bucha, Ukraine. I'll tell you this. I don't have to go into the long story to see how it came about. But I have several Ukrainian programmers that help me. Actually, my leader, Algorithm API programmer, actually lives in Zaporizhia, Ukraine. There's a friend that I started working with. He worked in Silicon Valley. He wanted to go home. I employed him. He went home to Ukraine, started a team up in Zaporizhia, and he's the one that works on my APIs with him and these 5 other guys. I mean, it was 7, but he's down to 4 because the others had to join the military service. And most of the time, a lot of time he doesn't have power, but luckily he has solar panels and generators and Elon Musk's Starlink, so we're able to keep connected. But on the 24th of February last year, we had the single greatest day of visitors to EGW Writings. We had in a single day over 22 million search queries. 22 million in a single day, and over 1 million people came in a 24-hour period. And the number one term that they looked for was last day events. And the second was great controversy. But the good thing about a filter like this is is I can click on last day events. And we had at that time, I had Russian contractors, had everything concentrated in the Middle East. We had all our servers hosted in St. Petersburg because of cost. But when I saw tanks circling Ukraine in October, I thought this is not good, and I started moving things out. And we actually converted over. I told Kevin today on the 24th of February was the last day we got everything up. And if we hadn't moved everything out, our site would have been down within 2 days. So, yeah. God is good. And I'm sorry for what's happening to your country. A bit personal because I've been there and I have many friends there. So what you've got here is it instantly circulated that word, 3 angels' messages. I've got, angels' messages. So it just brought up everything on the last day events. I don't know if you knew, and I can't put a book online because it takes 2 years from when we publish a book before we can put it free online. But as people know about the book that's called The 3 Angels' Messages, if you haven't bought it, buy it. It's a 200-page book, and I strongly recommend it. You can't get it free online because it only just came out in March last year. So I have to wait until March 2024 until I'll be able to put it up online. But you can buy the little paper book. It's like a white cover with a little world and a little 3 on it for 3 Angels' Messages. Silhouette, our artist, designed it. It's a fantastic book that our Vice Director, Elder Tim Poyer, collated and put together. It's really good. Highly recommend it. But anyway, so it filters there on the fly, and that's very useful. Okay, so this is what all these little results. Now, something else that I can put down is I can click on this tab. See at the top up here? See on the top you can see Ellen White. So Ellen White is selected. Can you see where I am? Just underneath the search results along there. If you click on Bible, okay, it instantly will update here in my things if that word. So let me just take away angels and let me put in message. Okay, so if I click in message and then click on Bible, it will give me the results now, just like it did in Ellen White's writings. It will now give me the results from all the different Bible versions, or for the commentaries. Now we have on here some different Bibles, and this is where I'm going to segue now over to looking up and searching within Scripture and some of the useful things here. As seminary students, many of you will probably find this, or PhD students, very beneficial. Okay, so let me look up Revelation 19:10. I think that's a very appropriate verse to look up. And it defaulted to my default version. So you can type out Revelation, or you can put in the 3-letter short code once you start to learn them. So I'm putting in Revelation 19:10. Now notice what this did. It opened up the Bible there for me. What did it do over here instantly? It changed from search results to another tab. Okay? Now we have on here, and I'm sorry that you have to buy these from the Review and Herald. It's a $50 to buy the whole set. But we have on this website all of the 7 volumes of the SDA Bible Commentary. We also have all of the 7.5, let's say, volume, because we have 7 ABC volume of Ellen White's comments. And these are all here. So at the top, okay, see how it's got here in the commentaries, it listed EGW first. So when you see EGW SDA Bible Commentary Volume 7, okay, that's her comments on this verse. Instantly, right there. If you want to see what the Bible commentary, this is where the results will show up for that verse throughout the SDA Bible commentaries. And one click, you can have them. So I'll click on, EGW commentaries. I've logged in and I've bought them. And yes, I did pay the $50. I didn't give myself it free. I could have. But I support my own website. I did. Okay. So, I come up here. And if I click on there, what did it do? See how it opened up the commentary right there in a split window? Okay. Now I can come back and I can just go back to the results. I can click on featured here if I want to, because it instantly updates, and I'm going to show you what it's doing here. See how it's contextually featured? And I'm going to go through and tell you this. Who here uses a chain reference Bible? As seminary students, I'm sure you should all have your hands up. Well, another thing we've created is a chain reference to Ellen G. White's writings. Let me show you. If you come to the Bible commentary in here and you click on this, what did it do? Everywhere where it's using that, it'll put out instantly all the books for me where that is used. Is that useful? Very useful. If I come back to the Bible verse and I want to see like Revelation 19:10, it does that. Now I can collapse the commentaries or I can scroll down, because down here, and I can click more, we have not only we have the commentary, but we have the student source book and the handbook of SDA theology, where all our beliefs are core, and that's in volume 10, 11 and 12, that we have there in the commentaries as well. And then we have the concordances, so you've got Naves and Strong's Greek and Thompson's chain reference. We have the dictionaries, we have the versions, all listed there that you can click on the fly. We have similar paragraphs, so it'll look at that paragraph and it'll look where that paragraph is used in an instant chain reference across. And then we have the EGW index, so all the places where that verse is used throughout her writings. And then we have the APL, and then we have the other instances. So it's all there. Now you may have seen something similar to like this in Bible Gateway. Anyone here use Bible Gateway? Okay. But this is specifically developed for just EGW writings. All there in a simple click. You've got it. Okay, so let's come back up to the commentary. Okay, so I'll get there in version 7, and I can just go along and click, and on the fly, what's it doing? It's just opening them up for me. In my study, it's useful. And if I'm coming here and I want to use it in my paper, I'll show you something else about the copying, which is very useful. Wow, 7:16, time flies. All right, so when I'm logged in, it pops up here what this is. Let me explain. Okay, you've got default highlights that you can come along and click it, and this is the study center. You've got tools, so you can go and you can add a highlight, you can add a bookmark, you can add a note, you can search for what I've highlighted instantly, but I'll get to that. If a single word is highlighted, you can do a dictionary search, or if a single word is highlighted, you can click play. This is the copy text button, that's print, this is share, this is add to my library, and this is correct a typo. Now I'm going to click on the copy. So when I come there and click on the copy, something as Andrew's students, which I think is very useful, is this feature, copy footnote. And then if I click on copy selection and I come down and launch my Word, okay, it's going to give me a site reference under the Chicago style reference instantly.
We like that.
Is that useful? Okay. No work needed, it's there for you, just like that. I like that. That's the latest feature that we added about October last year. Because I had actually a student from Andrews called Jonathan Burt who requested it. Celeste, his sister, says, of course. And I said, it was down the track that I said I did have it in the track to add, but I'll add it now because I'm coming to Andrews in January and I want to show them that we've done it. So there you go. Thank Jonathan. Hands to Jonathan. Okay, so that's useful. You can go through any of the books and everything and you just click on that in the copy in the site and it's right there. Now something else that is very useful. If I highlight something here, all right, in the sentence, and I click on the share, notice how I can click in here and I can share with highlight. Now you say, why that? You can share the range. You can even click on the link, and if there's the audiobook, you can share the audiobook link. And you can share the text link, or you can come in here and you can share the selection with the ref codes and the highlights. So if I come in here, okay, and I copy this link, and then I come across to a new tab, and I paste this, like you can paste it out on social media or an email or anything. What the useful thing is it will come back and it will, when it loads here, if it loads, there we go, it will light it with a highlight. So if you're sharing that, now don't share a link to the commentaries because you'll be forcing someone to buy it. You can share anything else. But, I'm sharing, this is an example. But I just wanted to show you in that link, if you have that checked through the share link, then you can share it out with people with a, existing highlight. All right, let's go back to the Bible. Literally, just so you think, where do you learn all this? I have created several hours of tutorials out here. You can click on tutorials there. You can go out to our EGW Writings YouTube channel and you can see hours and hours and hours of tutorials that I've created for you. Okay, so you come down, if you click on playlists, so it's nice on the playlist, and then you can come down and see EGW Writing's website. Okay, so there she's playing it. So there you can come along and you can, watch the tutorials.
Hello and welcome to EGW Writing's Tech Tips. I'm your host, Darryl Thompson.
Okay, so you can go through. That there, I just wanted to point that out, is right there on the main menu if you scroll down in tutorials. Because literally, you could be here for the next 12 hours to go through and learn all the different features that this website has. I'm just trying to show you some of the highlights that would be useful for your course in education. Okay, we're going to go back to Bible. Let me go to Revelation 12, verse 16, and I want to show you something. Something else that's very, very useful. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change my Bible versions. Can you see in the little toolbar at the top? I'm not going to have time to go through all these different tools and things, but this is something I think is very useful as pastors that you'll find very helpful. See that little tiny cross in the top left-hand corner there? That's how you change, and you might ask what this just brings up the table of contents instantly, and you can close it again. So that's what the one beside it is. But this is the Bible version. I'm going to click over to King James Bible with Strong's Dictionary. Now you can notice in here, when you go to the Strong's Dictionary, notice you normally have like little numbers, the Strong's numbers in the Bible. What we did is you can see when you hover over here, it will give you the Strong's number. See over the text. But see, if I come down here and I go dragon, what is the dragon? That's Strong's Greek 1404. So I click on this, it will go straight to the Strong's, and it's drakon. There's the Hebrew version of it, and there it is spelt out. And when I click on this, it instantly gives me the concordance to every reference where that appears in Scripture. Is that useful? As pastors and teachers, that's an extremely useful feature. I wanted to make sure that I showed you that tonight. All you need to do to get that, you can just put in your verse, make sure you're on the Strong's, and it will open up here. It will give you the definition, and it will give you that. And it has the Hebrew for the Old Testament and the Greek for the New Testament. So if I come up in here and I go to Exodus 20, verse 6. Okay, it will load KJV. I will go to with Strong's. I'll load it up with Strong's. Notice how the featured is just, flipping through instantly. But then I can come here and I can go love. All right, it will open up in the Hebrew dictionary. What is it? Ahab? And it gives you, or Rahab, a primitive root or the form of affection, and then I can click on the link there, and it will instantly give me the concordance of all where that word shows up in the Bible. Okay, so that's something that I wanted to show you that's extremely useful. Now, something else that you can say, well, what if I want to compare different versions? You can see that I've got the different splits and everything going on here, and you can reorder them by just clicking anywhere in the header and just dragging and dropping them, and that you can flip things around in there, and I'll show you here what you can do. So see on the left here, I'll scroll back up in the tree. If I want to bring up other different versions, let me close out this, and I'm getting that version. I'm going to scroll up. Say I want to bring the International Standard Version over. I long click, I just drag it over in the window, and then see how it instantly creates a split. Okay. I can also right click on this if I have trouble dragging, and I can say, open in new split, and it will open up in a new split. And if you want to, you can have up to 8 splits active in the window, okay? And as I scroll through, it should synchronize with the ones that I've got the splits going. And you can set your, how it's syncing right here with clicking on the little links there. Now you can have some time setting that up and you think, oh man, I don't want to lose this. Never fear. Remember I mentioned about workspaces? All you need to do is click on the little save disk here, click on Workspaces, click the plus on what you're doing, give it a title. Might be like Exodus 20. Click Add. Okay. And now Exodus 20 is there. I can close the website. I can come back over here. I'll reload. I can go to Workspaces. Okay. And when I refresh, it should come up here. Let me refresh here. Reload. There it is there. Okay, and it will load exactly where I am. Is that useful?
Yeah.
That's very useful for you guys because you could set up a complicated search and you don't want to lose it. No problems. Just save it and it will come back. Everything where you are at. Okay. Let me come in and show some of the tools that we have here. I'm going to come into, for your Bible students, you can go into all collections. You can go to English. See the Bible? We have 51 Bible there. We have 16 Bible versions, 20 commentaries, because in the commentaries, see how we have Ellen White's comments, the Bible commentaries, and Matthews Henry's concise and complete, and then the SDA Student's Handbook and Handbook of Theology. So we have those. Then you can come over and you can see you've got the concordances. Why these concordances? Well, like Thompson's and Torrey's, Ellen White used a lot. And that's how she looked up theirs. I'm actually in the process of getting someone slowly doing it. It's never been done, is getting Cruden's done. So I have someone in India that's slowly going through and doing the Cruden's because she heavily lent on that. It will eventually come here as well. And if you want to look through the source of a lot of her writing, you need to be able to look at these original sources to see why and wherefores if you look up her sources that she used. Okay, now something that I didn't show you, see these little things along here? This is what I call the crumb trail. It's very useful. You can jump out, and at 7:30 I'm switching, as I said, the next 15 minutes to the other sites. Boy, time will go and then we'll go to questions. So I'm watching the time. See how you can jump in? So you can come here to Bible, and you could click back, into writings at anything. You could come back and go Adventist Pioneer Library, or you can go to Bible. So you can jump around in your menus right there from your crumb trail. Now something that I want to show you I think is very unique. Some of you may be familiar with the 3-volume Scripture Index, and then there was a 4th volume that came out. Well, we did join all 4 volumes together because they went through the whole Bible in the 3 volumes, and then they went through, when they went to expanded it from the 26 books to the 77 books, they did it in that 4th volume. Well, what we did over about a year period is we went through and we created this, which has 200,000 Scripture references. You'll find this extremely useful in Scripture. Because anywhere where Ellen White uses Scripture, we didn't use it in the information. We actually have indexed it, but that would have to get like a seminary student to go through and reference everything and verify everything. Because a lot of times she's referencing Scripture all the time. But wherever it was obvious in a phrase, we indexed it and put it in here. And there's just on 200,000 Scripture references in here, all through her periodicals, letters, and manuscripts, all her books and her writings are all here. Very useful to you. So if you come into here and you see the difference, see there's like 64 references there, and then if you come back to the original 77 book, there's 12. So that's something that you can find very useful in your, if you want to look up what she has to say on it. And so all you need to do is you just click on the reference, and it will italicize here, and then you can quickly go through and reference. Now the other good thing is here, if you click on the little featured over here, see how it instantly gives you all the similar paragraphs that you used in the chain reference? And I'll give you a little tale. We used to get around about an average search query per month, 125,000 users. 125,000 queries. Since this new website's come, and most people did a single search and they were out. A lot of times, we used to get massive people, a lot of people would search in Google and they come here. But since we released this website, I looked tonight, how many searches do you think we've had in the last 30 days on our website? From the 7.18 million users. We've had 504 million search queries. Because people are doing this. they're using it more. Because they get lost in it. You can just spend hours clicking around and searching and searching and searching. And it didn't suddenly peak to that. It's slowly grown, and it sort of got to that. Okay? How many pages do you think people have accessed in the last 30 days in 138 languages? 16.4 million pages of information. Isn't that incredible? Amazing. So just throwing out some facts. If you think I'm not right, I can actually load the image up here for you that I took a screenshot, so I'm not pulling numbers out of the sky. Would I tell a lie? Okay, let's go to EGW Writings. Let's go to Analytics. Date modified. Here we go here. Let's load it up. 563 million queries. 7.18 million visitors. 16.26 million page views. That was from 5 o'clock this evening in the last 30 days. Praise God. Okay. So we did that. We've talked about the split screens. Something that's very useful. See the little book info at the end? If you click on that, it'll instantly give you, like your info, and you can click around and read. I want to get a little bit into audiobooks and then a little bit quickly in the study center. Oh, it's 7:30. All right, I'm going to go like a Gatling gun for 2 minutes and then we're going to switch. All right, I want to show quickly the study center. So over here in the study center on the left, it's very useful. Now, just think, if you use this here, the study center on my phone in the EGW Writings 2 app is this here. They link. So the study center on your EGW Writings 2 on your iPhone, EGW Writings 2, and then on your Mac, not the Windows one because it's an orphan, but if you use this website, okay, whatever you do in here, within a few seconds will sync and show up here. Now, the study center here is extremely useful because I can come in here and I can go to the gift of prophecy. I can click on that, okay? Let me open it up. I can click on, a few of these things here in the tag. Maybe I'll click them all. And then I can click on preview and see how it loads all of them all in a chronological list, just like that. Boom. So anything that I have in my study center, it's there. Now, not only can I do that, is I can copy that or I can print it. Okay? Something else that you can do. You can share your study center out. You can filter. If I come into here, I can actually, let me go back up into the root. Okay? I can come here and search your study center. You can't do that in the app, but you can come in here. Like if I want to see, where my Acts of the Apostles, boom, in my study center, just instantly references there all of my everything from Acts of the Apostles. If I want to come in here and I want to look up health, it instantly searches there on health. I can filter out, my bookmarks and just show my highlights, or I can come in and show just my bookmarks. If I got any bookmarks on that, do I have any notes on health? No, but I have everything in highlight. And then I can come down here and I can click on it and load it and open it up. I don't have time to go through all your different study center really, but essentially once you're logged in, all you need to do is just click on this and I'll show you some feature which is very useful for creating a study center. When you click on Add on Highlight, a lot of people just add contents into the root folder. Make sure you don't add into the root. Make sure you come into here and you create topical folders in which to save all your information in. If you want to create a new folder, hit the plus up in here. I'm just going to come in there and type test 10. I will hit create. All right. And notice it's at the top here. All I need to do is hit save. And then I can even come in here and create custom colors if I want to on a particular topic. I can give it a color name. So I'll just call it test 10 again, and I will select the color that I want, and I'll click save, and then I'll click save again. Okay? And there it is. Now, the next time, and if I want to edit that, I just click back on the highlight and see how it comes in edit. I can delete, I can preview it. So say if I want to delete, I can just click there and it's gone. So you've got that edit. If I want to add something in, so say I want to come here and add this, I go on the highlight. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to come back and add it into test 10. I'm going to click save, and I'll give it a color this time, and I'll click save, and there it is there. Now if I'm coming through and I'm doing a search, so say it's on Calvary. All right, say I'm doing the word search on Calvary, and I'll show you the usefulness of this. I'm clicking on the first result. I'm coming to my result, and I want to build up a study on this. I come in here, and I will highlight this phrase. All right. Now, if I've created a study on it, all I need to do is click on that in my history, and it will instantly add it in the exactly same folder that I had it in a second ago with the same color. I don't have to create it again. That's very extremely useful. So if you've created a study called Calvary, then you can just go through. You can go through, find the result you want. You can highlight it, the passage that you want to highlight, and you can highlight over the top of a highlight, and you can add notes and do all the fancy stuff. I just click on that again, and it puts it exactly in the same folder. And then when I want to come back and view it, I can come back over to my study center. I can go to test 10, and there it is. Is that easy? Very useful, very powerful. Audiobooks. Sorry, we're running out of time. All right, audiobooks. Something that's very useful, what we did here, is we flipped in between the ability to read and listen and go back and forth on the fly. So let me show you that. Is anyone throwing out, let's go to Great Controversy. All right, so I can go and open up the books in here. We have gone through, if you want the modern English, we have gone all professionally recorded the modern English. I just received funding in January from our latest board meeting. Kevin was there to re-record professionally, because the last ones were done in the 1970s by Christian Record, all the Conflicts of the Ages series. Okay, so over the next 18 months we're going to professionally record with new voices the Conflicts of the Ages series. I'm very happy about that. Now notice here, when I highlight over the menu, see how it just hovers up and gives me information, tells me how many pages and everything in there. Now it says it's going to play, but if I'm in here and I want to read the book and flip back, see I can click back and forth between read and play just by clicking on that. But I'm going to come in here. Beginning of the end is Patriarchs and Prophets in modern English.
Beginning of the End, an adaptation in today's language of Patriarchs
This
and
is a
Prophets by
professional
Ellen G.
voiceover
White.
artist from
Forward.
Detroit, Michigan.
This
I've heard
volume
him
is an
read books
adaptation
on
of
Audible.
From Eternity Past, the 1983
Now, if I'm listening here,
Ellen G.
I want to show
White's
you a quick
classic
few little tools which
Patriarchs
is useful.
and Prophets.
Let me turn it down a little bit.
Volume
I can come
including
here.
all the stories and major
You know, I can turn it
applications
down.
of the original book.
You'll notice that when you play this book and you play it in the car, it links up and everything on Bluetooth. It will play the chapter, and it gets to the end and automatically goes on to the next chapter. If you want to turn that off, just click the little tiny clock there, and now see the blue line at the end? It will stop it at the end. But I can actually hover over here and choose where I want to put that blue line. So when it hits that blue line, just automatically cuts it off. So you can set a time, you know, that you want to go through, and that's a timer. Okay, you can hit play, jump into the next 10 seconds, preview 10 seconds, go to the next chapter. That's all there. If I click here, watch, before I go, a lot of people don't want to listen in real time. You can speed it up.
Led to read and enjoy the original books, though written in the style of an earlier time. Except where noted, scripture passages have been quoted from the New King James Version.
You got your brother this afternoon complaining he wants 3 and 4 times. I said I can listen to 2. I don't think I can go past, but I said our macro can only help it, because you notice how it doesn't change the pitch, it just changes the speed.
He listens at 8 times.
He has a brain that I don't have. I've listened up to 2.5, that's about as much as I can go to. He listens 8 times? Oh my goodness. Good on him. That's how you get through information quick. Okay, but let's go back to play. Whoops. Let me come back. Okay, so I'll click here and I'll take it back to, 1.2 times. When I click on, I'll go a little bit quicker. Let me go to 1.5, 1.6. And I hit play.
And of the people of God. It makes the treasures
When
of
I click the
patriarchs and
book,
prophets
watch what
accessible to more
happens.
people. In this way, it helps to make more widely known the beginning of the great controversy story that Mrs. White told
What's
so
supposed to
compellingly in
happen.
the 5-volume Conflict of the Ages series of books.
In the modern English. Let me go to the normal books because it's not happening. Well, that was a great letdown, wasn't it? Let me go to Great Controversy here. Instead of the modern English, I hadn't tested this before the modern English. Never do something in a demonstration you haven't tested before. It's going to go wrong. All right, so let me go to Great Controversy. You can play the audiobook just by clicking play there. I'm just going to jump into the next chapter, chapter 1, and click on it here in the left-hand menu. And I'm going to jump into chapter 1. 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 And I'm going to jum and I'm going to come here and I'm going to click on play. You can play from the current paragraph, so I can actually be here, or I could scroll down to here, and instead of starting from the chapter, I can click play from current paragraph, and it picks up. It's sometimes in the books, because it's marked, it might be a little bit out of sync, but it will pick up in that paragraph, but you get the idea of what it does. Now I can come over here, see the little mini player in the top right hand corner? In the mini player here, you can go back to the maximum player, see in the maximum player, or I can switch back and forth there. So see how I can switch back and forth? Okay? So it's really cool. All right, let me show quickly the other two websites. Let me show just ellenwhite.org, and then we'll go to questions. There's so much more I can show you there, but you can go into the tutorials that I pointed out. Have people found this useful? Hopefully it's been helpful. Okay, so on this side here, this is just the video that plays at the beginning. The biggest thing here is search. So this is sort of like a global search, and I'm going to show you two different search engines, which is useful. Oh, and there's something I didn't show you that I do want to show you here, a feature. Now, some of you may have played with ChatGTP. I've been playing with it, and it's pretty cool. But we have developed a little bit of API in this website, and let me show it to you. So, someone give me a question. Not ChatGPT. It's just Amazon's AI engine. Someone give me a question quickly. Maybe we can look up the answer.
Should I ever eat cheese?
Okay, should I eat cheese? I put in a question mark. Okay, the key is the question mark, and in the help you see here when it says answers and questions, you know, who is God, for example, you see put in the question mark and you hit enter. And what it will do, it will automatically pop up the related, and see how it gives up the frequently asked questions. Okay? And it pops up the frequently asked questions. If it has an answer from her writings, it will pop up in answers. If it doesn't, it will just show 0. Okay? I'll just give you an example here. So it has in the FAQ section, because it looks at all the pre-answered, because we have 25,000 emails that we have indexed in here. So if it's been answered or questioned in there, it will pull it up from that in that index. Like say I have a question like, you know, who is God, for example. It'll pop up here, and see how it comes in here. God is faithful. The law of God is Israel, saith God, whoever was born of God. Okay, so God is faithful. I'll click on that. And what it does is it tries to pull out something which is an answer from Ellen White's writing. So there's a little bit of AI in there. I just wanted to show you that. So if you've got a question, either from the FAQ, because that leads over to this section on the Ellen White, where it's actually talking to that API. All right, so if I come in here, I want to show you something. So say I'm going to look for Kurumbong, and you can type in here. We have digitized all the incoming correspondence from Ellen White from 1844 to 1915. Now, it's all online. Of course, the handwritten material hasn't been OCR'd, because I don't know any OCR engine that could read Ellen White's handwriting, for a start. But anything that was typed, and she started to type it. When did she start to type, Kevin? 1870. It was in. I think it was like 1879, somewhere 1878, 1879. She started to type. Typewriters came out, and the White Estate has always used news technology. Ellen White definitely did, and we do too. Now, on the left there, you can instantly filter in the collection that you want. So you can use here, you know, it gives you, you know, searched ideas, but instantly you can come through. So if I want to go down to the incoming correspondence, which goes from 1844 to 1915, and then deals with the emails from 1995 through to 2017. But see all the letters here that comes down? I can filter to like James White, James Springer White, Edson White, or I can go to emails. So I could click here and it would instantly, you know, filter out there. Or I could come back into the incoming correspondence. And what it will do here, when I click on the document, it will instantly pass over the word that I search for into here, and I click on it, and there it is in the PDF. So you can go into the site, you can click on that, and there's all those filters on the side. Use it for your study and your research. You'll find the material very useful and very quickly. Okay? There is over 100,000 documents, not pages, documents in that section that you can search. I'm not going to spend more time on it, but if you want to, there's the different filters here, like you can go and you can change the view. See how you can quickly change the output view around so you can see the table. You can click in the preview on the bigger screen. You can take it out to another tab. You can share. You can look up the different references. You can print, and you can come in and look at the highlights, okay? Or you can close the document and go back and open up another one, okay? So that's quickly all the document table there. Something else that's very useful is the FAQ. So the global search, that's what you just sort of second thing. You know, something that a lot of people, and these are on the books, you know, there's Celeste, there's your dad book, Understanding Ellen White. You know, that's referenced there. Bill Fager's book, 101 Questions. Dwayne, I mean, a lot of the Andrews seminary professors, there's 15 professors that wrote The Gift of Prophecy in Scripture and History. That book there is referenced. Roger Kuhn, who used to be a lecturer here, teaching Adventist history in the 80s and 90s. His book there is Gift of Light, and then The Messenger Lord, Herbert Douglas's book that came out, 1999, something like that, came out, and that was the reference textbook that used to be used. Okay, so you can come in here and you can type in here, you know, obelisk or something, you know, and there it is, and you can say, you know, why does Ellen White have a obelisk on their grave marker, and you can read the answers and that in there. So you have an FAQ section. That is very, very useful. We also have in here, in the resources section for pastors, you know, like we have Spirit of Prophecy PowerPoints. So when you're out there in the Gift of Prophecy in Scripture and History, you have English and Portuguese ones, and then the Messenger Lord, you have English, Spanish, and Portuguese PowerPoints that you can download, that you can do a series on the different chapters and the different topics. So that's there and useful as pastors. If you're a pastor out in the field and you have a lot of children and you want to put in there for teachers, you have a lot of lessons. You have the Pathfinder Honor, which you can do here. There's all the documentation in which you can go through and do your Pathfinder Honor. We also have a section in there for kids. This is a great little section in which there's games and activities and audio and everything in there. So that's basically that. We've got 13 minutes left. We do have one other site, which was thewhiteestate.org. And it's our original, and it has a lot of issues and answers questions. So if you want to find out particular issues or top issues, you can just type it in the search engine and you can type it in there. So there's all our shelf documents that you have downstairs are on the White Estate. And you say, why do you have White Estate with about Ellen White and the Ellen White about all the research? Well, let's wind back. In 1995, when Bill Fager was here, he thought the White Estate should not have the Ellen White domain name, because domain names, who cared about that? Because there was no search engines. Google didn't exist back then. And so we had, it was the Ellen White Estate. So we had whiteestate.org, and he got that domain name. Well, in 1998, Dirk Anderson purchased ellenwhite.org. He was for it, and then he went negative. In 2010, I managed to convince him to pay a fair bit of money and bought that domain name off him. But in Google, if you change your domain names, we should really put, you know, the White Estate should be on the reference site and Ellen White should be on the other site, and switch it. But when everything's indexed in Google that way, if you change it, you lose a lot of your ranking. Okay, so like when Ellen White website, you know, went away and became Ellen White Defend and, you know, other sites, pretty much they just got buried in the results. And if you type most of the things on Ellen White and our topics, you will see that we fill up most of the first page outside of the sponsored material. And that's because of all our multiple sites. If you have one site, you only appear once. If you have multiple sites, you appear multiple times. All right, I answered the first question. Anyone else got any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes?
You're indexing the Crudens, but are you also indexing the citations?
Not Crudens yet.
Yet?
We're working on the Crudens.
Okay. What about Ellen White's citations in the great controversy like Wiley, Aubigné?
That's in all the APL section. Okay, so let's drop over to there. If you come down, we added a stack of historical resources and things. So we have Daubigné's work. We have, what's that?
Gibbon, Wiley?
We have some of them up there. Okay, let's see. All right. So what you'll need to do is go down to the APL section. So go All Collections, open up the English, come down to Adventist Pioneer Library. Is it? No, it's historical. Some of it's in here. I'm actually going to go to reference for what you're looking and see the historical reference works. So see the ones in here. Antiquities, the Jews, Josephus, you know, all that there, Historia of Protestants. His works are there, the history of the Reformation. So a lot of those researchers and everything there, that's Daubigné's that you were mentioning. So all you have to do is when you want to search is make sure that you check the reference works, and then you'll get all the results. So what's something you want to look up? So say you want to look up Luther. You type in there Luther, for example, and if I come in here, oops, that's another, I should show you that. I'll click on, historical works, see how it will bring up and all the results there. So that's how you do that. Okay? Something that I didn't show you, which is very useful as pastors, we are developing all the 28 fundamental beliefs with Ellen White citations. There's a personal project of mine that I've been working on. Only the White Estate can do this, because if you put Ellen White's writings in a Bible study, anyone else, whew, that would really be cultish, wouldn't it? But at the White Estate, we can get away with it. So as you notice here in all the lessons, as you come down, we have 12 questions per lesson. It's wonderful in group study. You can come in here like, what does salvation mean? There's your proof text. And all I need to do is go through, and it opens up in this window the proof text, and then I can read the supporting Ellen White statement. And that goes through question by question. There are 365 questions on the 28 fundamentals when they're all done. So that's there in the reference section under Adventist belief. Any other questions that people may have? Yes, Celeste.
So I know on the web browser you can actually listen to the audiobook at 2 times speed.
Yes.
In the app, I haven't found that feature. Is
Correct.
it in development?
We are working on EGW3, but let me show you something. What you need to do is go to the browser. Okay, this is EGW Writing's website. It perfectly rephrases right on my phone. So this is the egwritings.org website, and it has all the features I showed you here on the app.
So on EG3, the app.
It will do all that. Yeah. As I said, EGW Writings 2 is 8 years old. They didn't have all that stuff back then, and you can't really build it in, but in the new one, you can. We'll be doing it in Flutter. So yeah, so see how, what I was doing here, just pulled it up on the phone. So, I'm logged in. So, if you want to use it on the mobile or your tablet, you can use EGW Writings. It will rescale and everything. Because up in the top right-hand corner here, see here when you click on this, see how you can flip into tablet or mobile mode? So I can click it over here into mobile mode right there, and there it loads. But it automatically knows it on mobile and automatically sniffs that, sniffs your language, and loads it up. Any other questions? Keep firing away while we're here. We've got 8 minutes. I know I probably bored you out of your brains, probably. Or either that or blew them up. I don't know. One of the two.
If not yet made this fundamental belief button white on that available on that list.
It's on the website, the first 12.
It is already.
Yes, so load it up. Let me come back. Okay, so let me just kill that because I went and clicked in the mobile. Let me come back, open a new tab, load up the website. It's here. Go back to desktop mode. There we are in desktop mode. Okay, so from right here, see right there it says Adventist Beliefs.
Yeah.
Click on Adventist Beliefs. Something else that you might know, I'm currently in the process of, do you remember the book Bible Readings for the Home Circle? We're currently digitizing that. I went through and OCR'd it and tagged it all, and I didn't tag it all. I OCR'd it. It was cleaning up the text, and I ran out of time, my own time, so I've given it out to someone.
Which version?
It's the ASI version from 1990. It's the 1990 version. There's some of the things we're fixing up in that, and then all the links and all the Bible text and everything will work. It will be here in the Adventist Belief section. That was something that for you new students was like the go-to book in the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. It was the book, the standard that people used. But we're digitizing and putting it online. Yes?
So in the website we can find also different versions of the translations of the books.
Oh, yes. Let me show you. So let me log out. Okay, I thought I might have shown you being. When I open up the tree when I'm logged out, look at this. Is that enough? Now, we don't have, if you want to know what we have, you go to EW Collections, it will tell you how many books in each of the languages that we have here. You see that?
Okay, I mean the different versions of translations or different versions, for instance, the Great Controversy.
Yes, so we have the 58, which is the spiritual gifts, and then we have the 83 Spirit of Prophecy, and then we have the 88, and then the 9 and 11. Yes. They're all there. So like if I go, what's that? Spiritual gifts, that's 2 SG. Okay, so yeah, we have it. Very good question. Anyone else that's got questions? Fire them away. Yes.
Yeah, in some of her letters, she leaves out a name because
Yes.
keep out to protect the individual.
Yes.
Has someone gone in and indexed all those blank names that were left?
Well, you've heard let me show you, the letters and manuscripts. The first ones that came from 1844 to 1859, that was done and it's out in a volume, the letters and manuscripts annotated volume. Dennis Kaiser, which you know he's a lecturer here, he's done the 60 to 63, and that's in final stages of being edited, and that would be out. But it's many years of research and work.
So you can actually...
I have the volume 1 here. So if you come into here and you go to EGW Writings, where do we put it? I think we put it under letters and manuscripts and annotated. Yep, there it is there. Okay, so see it is, here it is here. We also have the index that you can look at the index, and then this is the 25 bound volumes that I was talking about that are all there. And you can see the year on the cover. So see how, you know, by the time you get to, I said 80s, late 80s. Okay, where's it? No, it's actually the 90s before it goes. So it's 93, not the late 80s. It's actually early 90s. It goes to single year volume. Okay, we put all covers and colors and everything on that. We went through that. We haven't done it in the APL because even though we have, someone asked me before about Adventist Pioneer Library, Fred Bischoff, you know, started Adventist Pioneer Library and he passed away, I think 3 years ago. But we bought out his collection. We had an understanding with him in 2008. We paid him money for in perpetuity to use the Adventist Pioneer Library books and index it in here. Okay, any other questions, Zach?
So there's a version of the app for Mac OS,
Yes.
Windows,
Yes.
iOS,
Yes.
Android.
Yes.
What about Linux?
Okay, when we do the Twitter app, we'll have Linux. The Twitter, what did I say Twitter? Flutter. What did I say Twitter? When we do the, I don't know why, my brain must be Twitter-pated. When we bring out the new EGW 3, which we'll call EGW Writings, that we're building that on Flutter. Now that's Google's Dart language. Why Flutter? That's because we will be able to program it once. I can't show you. I won't show you. We're in development stage. We've got lots of things in development stage. It takes years and we don't normally talk about things till they come out to make sure that they're ready and in prime time when they come out. But it will have, what we'll do is it will support 7 OSs. So when we bring that out, it will run on web, iOS, Mac OS, Watch OS, iOS, Mac OS, iPad OS, Watch OS, and then Android, Android TV, Linux, Windows, and web. It will run on all of those platforms. But it will probably take to 2025 before you see something like that. We'll have a first version out in, I hope, because the EGW Writings was simple, we are actually building a simple form. I'll give you a little bit of a clue since you've been here and tonight on a close night. So in EGW Writings 3, we're doing a total, where all the architecture and everything that you see here is, I was the architect and planner and all of that, and building all these apps out. The new one is now by a team of people, not just me. I'm old and tired. Been doing this for 20 years. So I'm now getting a team to help. And we're designing it into basically 3 phases. You'll have a simple app form, which will have a lot of AI, and instead of thousands of results, we'll give you about 25. And it's really based off a reader. If you swipe right, you go to your study center. You swipe left, you go to community. If you want to get an idea of what it might be like, use the Bible app. Okay. So anyway, we're in development of that, and it'll be made on Flutter. Give us about a year, and we might get the simple version out. Another year to get the study center in, another year to get the community in. But the good thing about the community, let's imagine you're a pastor. You'll be able to create your sermons in the app. You'll be able to share that out with your congregation with a QR code or whatever, and everyone in your congregation will be able to follow along with you on your notes. Would that be useful? It's coming. Just wait. Anyway, thanks for coming. Let's close in prayer.